What's up, y'all? Listen, all month we have been getting summertime fun, and today is no less. We are going to be seeing how simple it is to get a basic beat with matte brushes, but I am not doing it alone. Today I have the consistency queen, the Maya Elious, and I'm super excited to welcome her. Now listen, before I jump in and get started, I just want to let you know that if you are new here, my name is Z and I am the melanin makeup coach, and I am here to teach you how to apply, not just how to apply, but what to buy and how to apply so that you can feel confident in your makeup. Tonight I'm really excited about the live because I'm going to be working with my baby, which is matte brushes. You guys, matte brushes is the perfect brush set for beginners because they are numbered in order. They are named so descriptively to make your makeup application really easy, and then finally they are shaped to give you a better blend much faster. So we're gonna jump in and we are going to get started, but before we do, I gotta let you know that my last class was a blast. Now, I taught a basic beat 101 class, y'all, and it was fantastic. We had a blast. So many people just learned so much. So many women learned so much about the lighting that they need, how to purchase foundation, what to look for in makeup when you go to the store. It was a fantastic class, and at the end of that class, I opened up enrollment to Basic Beat Summer Camp. If you struggle or overwhelmed with buying products, I am going to ship you a custom makeup kit box, and we're going to work together for 3 days. I'm going to teach you your quick basic beat plus 3 eyeshadow looks, and you can learn more about that at basicbeatssummercamp.com. Say it with me, basicbeatssummercamp.com. All right, now this live, ooh, I'm so excited. Let me go ahead and bring Maya on because everybody hold your breath, hold your horses. There she is.
Hey, girl.
It's the setup for me, sis.
I'm all set up. I actually need to take off my makeup before we get started because I had some stuff that I had to do today, so I had makeup on. But I'm very excited. I was looking at my little, it was showing me exactly how to use the different brushes and all of that. I'm like, this makes a lot of sense because usually when I buy brushes, I'm like, what is all of this? So I'm excited for tonight.
Yes, fantastic. I'm loving the background. Oh, ooh, now my phone got excited. Okay. I'm loving the background. I'm loving it. So you can go ahead and take your makeup off. I'm just gonna chit chat with the people and let them know before you even introduce yourself. I'm gonna give you my own introduction. You guys, if you don't know, now you know. You guys, Maya is a fantastic. She calls herself a brand strategist, y'all. And I remember when Maya put this poll up about, which one do you resonate with more? And I guess the people voted for brand strategist. But this girl right here, she is anointed. Y'all know I'm real churchy, but she really is anointed to help you uncover mental blocks that you may have in your business. And those things also translate over into your personal life. Maya has taught me so much just about shifting how I think in business, shifting how I think as a person, and watching her excel just inspires me so much to be consistent, which is what we're going to talk about tonight too. So you guys, listen, y'all are in for a treat. Now listen, I ain't gonna be able to take notes tonight. Y'all know I like to pull out my notebook. We're gonna be working and talking, so y'all have to pull out your notebooks and your pens. Do you hear me?
Let's do it.
Because the things that Maya is about to drop in your spirit, you are going to want to write down. You do not want to miss this, okay? Now, I know that there are people who don't know who Maya is, so I want you guys to go and follow her. I want you guys to go and light up her comments, find something on her page that resonates with you, holler at her and let her know that you met her right here. And then for those of you who don't know me, hi y'all, I'm Z, and I help Black women learn how to do their makeup with confidence. Feel free to follow me. I teach free classes every month that you can join in and learn too. So tonight though, I'm super excited because I'm going to show Maya how easy it is to get her basic beat with my brush line matter brushes. So as you can see, as she was saying, they are very easy to set up, you guys. And I did that because I had a headache trying to send my students over here, over there, over here to go and get the right brush, because I know that every brush counts. The shape of the brush matters. When you're doing your makeup, you don't want to have confusion. I know that this is what some of y'all brush stuff look like. I know. I already know this is what it looks like.
100%.
I know that this is what it looks like. You can't see. You're using one brush for everything. And so I decided to just create something myself that would help those who I am teaching and help me make a greater impact. So, Maya, you can do your own introduction now. I just had to say what I needed to say.
Well, thank you so much for that, y'all. I am so excited. It's been a long time coming. I should have signed up for one of these makeup classes a long time ago. But my name is Maya Elious. I am a personal branding strategist and the CEO of Built to Impact, which is a coaching company. We have coaching programs and live events for women of faith who want to master their message, monetize their expertise, and build a six-figure personal brand. I love what I do so much. I get to work with experts. Sanisha has been one of my clients. We have had the pleasure of working with her. She's amazing at what she does. I think what I love about what I do most is that I work with people who are already geniuses. I just help them market themselves more effectively so they can get their ideal clients and, just create more impact. And I know that Z has been helping y'all get your makeup life together, like with social media and content and, building your brand and needing to prioritize your presence. It really is important to know how to do your makeup, unless you just have makeup artist money left and right to be getting it done. So I love that she teaches, women just how to do an everyday look. So I'm really excited to be here.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm excited to have you. Now, before we get started, baby, listen. Summertime is around the corner. Summertime is around the corner. Now, what Maya didn't mention, you guys, is that after she hit a milli, then she decided to start another company. Tell them about Rebellious Fit.
Yes, so I came up with Rebellious Fit. You can see the little R here. So the company name is Rebellious, a play on words with my last name, Elious. So the spelling is Rebelious. And I created this company because I really like working out and I like to look good working out. A lot of times people will act like they work out because they just want to be healthy, which is great. But I just like to look good, which is why this is a perfect blend. It's like, I like to look good with my makeup. I like to look good with my hair. I like to look good with my body. So I came up with Rebellious Fit because it's like these sets that make you feel really confident when you're in the gym, especially if you haven't worked out for quite a while and you're like, oh, I'm not really quite sure to wear. I feel a little bit awkward. When you put on the sets, you feel really confident and sexy. So Rebellious Fit is my new baby that I'm really excited about.
Yeah, and let me tell you, if you guys saw the reel I posted today, y'all know I have never posted my whole body and nothing like this. I don't post a swimsuit. I don't post anything. But when I tell you this bad boy got me strapped, I'm strapped in.
You look good, girl.
The rib set, I'm strapped in.
Yes, I love it.
Gave me the confidence I needed, y'all. So fantastic. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing we're gonna do is make sure that you have your brushes set up correctly. Okay. So we're gonna be working with.
Can I ask one quick question? I want to know, like, what's the proper way to take off makeup? Because I'm taking off my makeup and I'm like, I wonder if she's looking at me like I'm not doing it right. I'm like, am I dragging my skin? Am I doing it the wrong way? Like, I need a quick, 60-second teaching on how do you take off your makeup so you could still look nice and young once the makeup comes off.
So the best way to take off your makeup is to double cleanse. So I actually had Marsha of Very Clear Skin on, and she taught us the correct way to take off our makeup. And double cleansing just means that, yes, you can use the makeup wipe, but you also need to go back and use some kind of cleanser that's perfect for your skin type. And so even though we're in this quick setting, using that makeup wipe, and typically when you're taking care of your skin, you want to wipe up. And I typically kind of wipe up and back, and that brings your skin, conditions your skin to always be drawn up. But black don't crack. So You know, we kind of have an advantage there. But yeah, so cleaning upward and outward is always the best motion to use. But yeah,
Gotcha.
nobody's judging you, girl.
Listen, I just want to do it right. You know, I'm amongst the queen here. I got to do things right.
So am I. Speaking of queen, I call you the consistency queen. What do you feel is the definition of consistency? How do you define consistency?
Ooh. I think that consistency is simply just something that you do repeatedly. I think it's something that you do repeatedly on a cadence. And the reason that I say repeatedly on a cadence is because a lot of times when we hear the word like doing something consistently, we think about the frequency of it. And sometimes we tend to overdo something, which then leads us to being not consistent, right? So even thinking about working out, like when people are newly working out, sometimes they're like, I'm going to go hard. I'm going 7 days a week. I'm going to be consistent. And it's like, then they go hard for those 7 days and they're like, yo, I'm exhausted. I'm never stepping foot in the gym again. And consistent can just mean, what is your specific cadence? It might mean I'm going Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and that's something that you can keep up with. So when you're thinking about consistency, you also want to think about capacity. What do I have the capacity to do so I don't run out of energy? So that way, you know, I don't fall back into my old habits. So that's how I look at consistency.
I love that. You guys, I want you to type in the comments. Cadence. If y'all need spelling help, that's C-A.
Oh my God.
C-A-D. Look, and I hope I spell it right while I'm talking.
Right.
C-A-D-E-N. Is it E-N or A-N?
Yes.
E-N-C-E. Cadence and capacity, you guys. Cadence and capacity. There you go, Dr. Shay. Cadence and capacity, you guys. When you think about consistent, Maya is teaching us that we need to pay attention to the cadence and also evaluate the balance of capacity. There's no way we can be consistent at something if we don't even have the capacity. Come on.
That's it.
We don't even have the capacity. Our schedule doesn't even allow us. Our routine doesn't even allow us to do that. And then what happens, Maya? We start beating ourselves up.
Yep.
Now we're not worthy. Now we lose confidence because we're not consistent.
Yep. That's it.
So, you guys, cadence and capacity. And when we think about consistency, those are the things that we want to remember. Okay, let's jump into the brushes. You ready?
Let's do it.
Okay, so the brushes are numbered in order. You probably noticed that you have brushes that start with E, and then you have brushes that start with F.
Yep.
Now this brush, let me see if I can turn this
Thanks y'all for buying badges. Yes, keep buying badges, y'all.
I know that's right. So this brush right here, the one that is double-ended, this one has the fluffy end and then the flat end. Some of my customers like to lay it flat across instead of putting it down inside. Now me, on the other hand, I know the strength of brushes, especially these, so I just go ahead and smoosh the flat side down in there because it can come out the other side when you're drying it, and then, you know, it'll still be intact. Ooh. But some lay it flat. But this one is F1E1. So this means that this can start off if you're gonna be doing your eyes, which I start with eyes when I'm doing full glam. But this can also start off when you're doing a basic beat, which is F1 too. So one of my customers actually did a video, and she actually set this brush in the middle and then allowed the E's to go this way and then the F's to go this way. I thought that was really smart, but we're just gonna work with the F's. So this is F1. Next is F2. So make sure you sit that kind of near the middle. F2 is going to be your foundation brush. After that, make sure you have F3 next to it. You got it?
Where did I put my F3? This is F3, right? Okay. Yep. Got
F3
it.
next to it. And then F4 is going to look more like a larger blush brush. On it says contour and blush. So make sure that one is next to F3.
Got it.
All right. Next is F5, which is my favorite. F5 is the nose and eye contour brush. You're going to sit that one next to F4. That's F5. You holding
So
E5 in. Nope,
what is
that's
this?
E5.
What about this one?
That's F5.
Got it.
Okay. And put that one next to your blush brush.
Okay.
Do you see the numbers on the brushes, girl?
I see them. It's right here.
Oh,
This is F5.
okay. Because you asking me like you can't see them.
I see them.
Okay, this is F6. The larger one is F6. We're going to sit that one next to F5 so they go in order.
Okay.
And then the last one is F7. F7 is going to sit next to F6.
Got it.
Perfect. So we're going to use these in order. Now, y'all, mine are dirty because I use them for real, okay? All right. I don't want y'all to be hitting me up because the truth of the matter is I know y'all brush is dirty.
Listen.
I already know. But that's
Yeah.
all right. Okay. Now, typically, do you use a corrector or anything?
No. I just go straight
Okay.
to concealer.
Okay. So instead of going straight to concealer, we're gonna skip F1 because you don't use corrector. So whenever I'm starting with a basic beat, I put this in here for those who need to use corrector for any dark circles. So
Gotcha.
now, because we don't need this, we can just skip F1. We're going to go to F2, which is foundation. So we're going to apply the foundation first. What foundation are you using these days, girl?
Girl, let's see. Usually I use Maybelline, but I recently just broke it. So today I will be using Pro Concealer in Fawn because that matches my complexion pretty well.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. So
Yeah.
however you apply your foundation, so like if you're using that concealer as a foundation, if you apply it all over your face, then you can blend it with your brush, however you do it. I'm going to be using a mix because my Maybelline is actually low. So if I pump it, I bought this pump off of Amazon. If I pump it, it's going to splatter out everywhere because it's low. So I'm going to mix this to get my shade. And I'm mixing a little bit of this Estee Lauder Double Wear with the Il Makiage.
Okay.
One is lighter, one is darker, and I'm kind of in between seasons right now. So
same here. So I'm hoping this matches. I mixed mine already.
Yeah. Okay. So this brush specifically says to press in the foundation. So
Okay.
I'm just pressing it in until it all blends in. And the reason why you want to press it, the reason why I say press it is because the step before this is corrector. And you don't want to swish like any products that you need to layer because it's just moving it from one side of your face to the other. But because our skin, we don't need to cover anything, then we can kind of use a little bit more of a swiping motion. I still like to press because it does give you more of an airbrush finish.
Gotcha.
How does the brush feel, Maya?
So soft.
Yeah, I love this brush.
It feels really good. It's like, it's soft, but you can tell that it's still like firm in terms of the quality. Like I don't feel like the bristles are gonna like be sitting on my face after I'm done.
They better not be.
No, they're not. Plus I cleaned them before and nothing was coming off, so I'm glad.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome sauce. Okay, so while we're blending this in, this is another question I want to ask. Where did you learn consistency? Like, where did it come from? Like, did you just come out the womb, being consistent? Where did you develop, consistency?
It's interesting because it wasn't that I learned consistency, I learned discipline. And when you have discipline, it's easier to be consistent. And I definitely learned discipline from my dad. So I am first generation American. My parents are Liberian, and they had the fortune of being able to come to this country because of my dad's discipline and my grandfather's discipline. He was like very militant about education, being the best, being number one. they don't believe in number two. So being really disciplined in how you show up, how you speak, you know, the work that you do, being the absolute best. That's where I got that attitude from, to be very disciplined. And in order to be the best, you have to be consistent and disciplined.
I love that. Where do you feel like your strength is when it comes to consistent? What are you most consistent at? What would you say you're most consistent at?
Oh my gosh. I'm
The
not
good
gonna
and the
use,
bad, girl.
yes, I'm definitely most consistent in binge watching TV. Like that is, I'm consistent in binge watching in certain seasons. But y'all want to know what I'm really consistent in? I'm very consistent at resting. Almost every day at around 2 p.m. I take a nap, and I've been doing that probably for like the past 14 years. And it's like my body just can't fight sleep. 2 p.m. I try to usually work between like 9:30 to 2, and I'll be like, listen, I need my nap. I might do a couple hours of work later in the evening, but baby girl be napping. So I get my rest. And then in terms of work, I think I would say I'm probably most consistent in just keeping my business organized and having like a really clear strategy.
Yeah, you are put it in a folders type girl. So
I love folder. You know me, my folders and templates.
I already know, girl. Y'all, Maya has folders and templates for days. Like, would enjoy a hobby of organizing all of your folders in Google Drive. Would enjoy it.
That's my favorite.
So I think that's awesome. I think that sometimes our issue with consistency absolutely can be rooted in discipline. And I think that discipline, sometimes you have to train yourself, especially if you don't come from seeing that in your family and your environment. So when I think about, discipline, for me, it's doing things that I have to do even when I don't want to do it.
Yes.
How do you define discipline?
Yeah, I think I would define it the same way. I've heard a definition that was really good before, so I'm probably not going to get it word for word, but it's basically like doing the thing you said you were going to do, even if you don't feel like doing it, which is exactly what you said, right? But it's like, if you were motivated to do it at the time you said it, even if you don't have that same motivation at the time you're supposed to do it, discipline is doing it anyway, essentially.
That part. And it almost becomes like it should become part of your routine. It should, whatever that thing is, it should become part of your routine in order to reach a different goal. Before, I want to talk about goals too, but before I do, let's go ahead and move on to concealer.
Okay.
So I do foundation first. And I set these brushes up like a system. So especially for beginners who absolutely have no clue what comes first, second, third, fourth, whatever, they can just follow the numbers. So you guys, we just used F2. Let me turn my brushes around because they're definitely the wrong way. We just used F2, so we're going to hop to F3, okay? But first, we're going to apply concealer. The concealer I am in love with right now is the Milani Conceal and Perfect. I use this little tube. I love the coverage that it gives, and I love the finish. What concealer are you using? Are you using the LA Girl?
We're going to do LA Girl all around.
Okay, cool. Cool. So LA Girl is a very, very popular product. It's been popular for a very long time. I'm talking about back when YouTube was really what YouTube was supposed to be. It's been popular a long
back
time.
when I was doing all the tutorials. Them YouTube tutorials had me in a chokehold.
Absolutely. So I usually take my little wand and I apply straight to my face. If you don't want to apply straight to your face, then you definitely can put it on the back of your hand like Maya did. And you can either use that first brush we had to just apply it into the underneath your eyes, or you can use your finger. So I'm going to apply mine right underneath my eyes. Now, Maya, do you like a snatched nose?
I do.
Okay, so we're going to go just a thin line in the middle. Very good. And I'm also going to go underneath the brow.
Okay.
Just to lift my brow. And I'm going to put a dot on my chin because I don't want to go too far too fast with that part and be looking crazy. Now, this brush, I made this brush because a lot of times I forget my sponge. And I never have a brush in the pack that'll make up for my sponge, or either I'm already sitting down and I don't feel like getting up to wet the sponge. So this brush, you just basically use a patting motion. So all I'm going to do is just use the flat of the brush to just pat and blend. This is going to give you such a seamless finish. Yes, just like that. Give you such a seamless finish that it looks like skin, which is the goal. You want your makeup to look really natural. It can still look popping and natural. And I think that's one thing I love about when you wear makeup, Maya, that it really looks, and I'm talking like in person too, because some people don't be looking right in person. They look right. You know, just on
They got to look good without the filter.
Right. But in person too, your makeup looks really, really natural. And that's really like my style of makeup. So I love that. Shout out to your makeup artist too. And you do a great job too.
Thank you.
You and your sister, y'all both do a great job with your makeup.
Maddie is very consistent. I'm at her house right now, actually. She's the one that brought me the makeup wipes. Yep. This is totally her jam.
That's awesome. Okay, so once you press it in, sometimes you can feel like, you know, like the sides over here might not be blended, or maybe the concealer kind of spread a little too far. You guys, this is a concept that I like to teach, is bouncing back to the brush before. So this was the foundation brush that we used, and it still has a little bit of that product that's not as light as the concealer. So we can go around the edges of that concealer with the previous brush just to blend everything in to make sure it looks really, really natural. So we just press it in just to get a nice blend, because before we move on, we need to make sure that everything is looking cohesive. What we don't want is inconsistency in the blend.
Yes.
All right. So I want you to take your foundation brush, Maya, and just go along the sides of your nose. And that's just going to snatch it a little bit more. There you go.
Boom.
Perfect. All right. So once everything is blended, we're going to make sure that, now this is something I did have to train myself to do, is putting my brushes back where they belong. Trying to stay a little organized because, baby, listen, it'd be a mess by the time I get done, okay? All right. Now, F3 literally says blend and set under eye, and we're now going to use our powder. Do you have a loose powder by chance?
Yes, I brought mine.
Perfect. So we're going to take this loose powder with the same brush, and we're just going to dip some in, tap it off, and I'm going to press underneath the eyes to set what we just did. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. You guys, tell us in the comments. Say it again.
I was going to say, remember when we used to cake and bake?
Ooh, that was a lot though. You weren't doing your makeup right if you didn't cake and bake.
Bruh, we was caking and baking, honey. 2015, 2016.
With that banana powder? Oh, baby. Listen. I remember when I was kind of maturing my makeup out of banana powder. And I had done my first celebrity. And it was actually a group. So if you know my personal story, then you know what I'm talking about. But I ain't going to say, I ain't going to put it on my blast. And one of the members was like, if she ain't got banana powder, then I don't want her touching me. And I was like, baby, go on. I ain't got it.
That is hilarious.
I just ain't got it. I'm not picking up banana powder anymore. Right. So I think somebody asked in the comments what loose powder we're using. What brush did you use for your setting powder? Oh, what brush? So the brush that I'm using is the F3. So again, these are matter brushes. You can visit matterbrushes.com. But this is the brush F3 out of the set. And it literally says to blend and set under eye powder, under eye powder. I'm also going to take the rest of this and I'm going to just set like the center of my nose. I'm not adding anything else. I'm just taking the residue and just setting like the chin, the center of my nose, and all of that. There you go. And that way that stays in place. Okay. Now, let's talk about your journey to growing your business to 1 million. I want y'all to put 1 million in the comments. 1 million in the comments, 1 million in the comments. And I think what I really want you to share is how your I guess your confidence to actually share the 1 million. Not the journey itself to 1 million, because you do talk about that. You're very transparent with that, and we appreciate that. But the confidence to share it and not, I guess, feel ashamed about it, to not feel like this, false modesty or anything. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I've always been pretty transparent with my numbers, even before I was making six figures. So when I started out in the coaching space, I was blogging quite frequently. And I used to see other bloggers do income reports, which is where they would talk about how they made money as a blogger and with their business. And I started doing that when I was still a freelance designer and I was running a design agency. Back then, this is back when I was making maybe like $3,000 a month, 4,000, creeping up to 5,000. And I was so excited about those numbers. And I think the reason I was excited to share is because it allowed other people to see what was possible. Because when I was looking at income reports, the reports I was looking at was, people were making $30,000 a month, $50,000 a month. I was blown away. I was like, I didn't even know that it was possible to make this amount of money. And I didn't really have a concept of how much money per month you needed to make $1 million. I think for me, maybe at my goal was to make $8,333. And that still seemed like a lot, back then when I was doing income reports. And the 8,000 number that's the number to get to six figures, to get right to 100,000. So I had already been pretty familiar with sharing my numbers. And it was really important to me that people got to see a Black person making that much money. And it was really important that people got to see a woman of faith making that much money. And it was important that people got to see a woman of color making that much money. And so I wanted to really inspire all of those demographics, because oftentimes when we do see wealth and millionaires and all of that, we typically see white men, white women, or even men of color, but oftentimes we don't really see Black women making a lot of money. Fortunately, we see it more now, but I've shared my journey since the beginning, since I was making $3,000 a month and just growing steadily. And so when I hit the $1 million mark, my audience was already pretty used to seeing my journey, but I think it really inspired them, especially for the people that were like, man, I've been following you since you were a graphic designer, or since you were making $4,000 a month or $6,000 a month. So being able to share it, I think it's because I had already built up a community who I knew they knew my heart when I shared the numbers, right? I knew that the majority of my community, the people who really knew me, understood that I wasn't sharing it just to be like, hey guys, I have money. It was more so like, dang, y'all got to see my journey. This is possible for me, which means that it's possible for you.
I love that. I think that that's what was so inspiring. And it just so happened that my retreat was on the weekend that we celebrated the first million. So that was really, really fun. Yes. And doing the whole busted dance, that was just so much fun to celebrate. But to be there in the moment, the magnitude of that, being able to see somebody that looks like me, to see somebody who's literally doing the work. Okay? Not BSing around. Literally doing the work, literally, in the trenches and figuring it out. So I really appreciate you sharing it. Let me ask you this. Do you feel like the fact that you did not go into maybe corporate, or even, as far as school, your school journey, your college journey, or lack thereof, do you feel like that also played a role in how comfortable you felt? Because a lot of times in the corporate world, that's just an unknown rule. We don't talk about what we make. Okay, you're not gonna see my paycheck. Right. I'm not gonna see your paycheck. So it's a no. So do you think that they also played a role too?
It might have. I think seeing other bloggers share is what definitely
Mm-hmm.
inspired me. I'm like, I didn't know it was a thing to share your numbers until I saw somebody else doing it. And so I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, okay, maybe I can inspire people. I mean, but when my parents would see it online, they were mortified. They were like, why would you tell people how much money you would make? Like, they were totally against it, literally up until like when I had my first $100,000 month, which meant I was on track to hit 1 million, instead of calling me and congratulating me, they're like, why would you share how much money you were making online? And
yeah,
it's funny, it's like, when my parents are the two people closest to me, but they're also the people who just for a very long time just did not understand what I did, why I would share my numbers, all of that. They definitely didn't understand me dropping out of college. So there was a lot of friction there. And it hurt because it's like I want them to celebrate me. And it's probably within maybe like the last like 12 to 18 months, like now my mom goes around, she's like, yeah, my daughter's a millionaire. And I'm like, Mom, why would you go around actually telling people? Now I'm looking at her like, girl, why are you telling people how much money I make? Like, that's not even safe.
girl, that is so funny. But listen, that's a mama though. That's a mama though. And I feel like, one thing I feel like is that we get to, the older we get, the more the roles kind of reverse. And even though our parents teach us stuff, we are so wild in our dreams and our imagination that we actually get to switch the role and we get to teach our parents things. And whether they admit it or not, because they won't tell us, but whether they admit it or not, I think that it's fascinating for them and just a proud moment for them to watch us
Yeah.
excel, beyond even their own
Oh
wildest
my
dream. And it's
gosh.
like, you prayed for this, right? Didn't you?
Exactly. Yeah. My parents now, like, I honestly feel for them because as I get older and I get closer to them, I'm like, I get it, right? I'm like, I dropped out of college when I was making websites here and there. So they're like, you're dropping out of college to make money on the internet? Like, what's going on? But now they're so proud. Earlier this year was my dad's first time seeing me at Impact Weekend. He was so proud of me. It was such just a touching moment. He sent me a text and he's like, I'm just so proud to even be able to learn from you. And it felt so good to hear that after like years of him being like, hey, are you going back to school? Like, are you going to be a failure? What's happening here? So it's
Yeah.
really cool. And now they get to benefit from my fruit, right? Like they get to eat my fruit with me, which I love. And now that they're older, I really just want them to enjoy life, and I get to be with them as they are doing that and be a part of it. So I'm always like, let's
Yeah.
go travel, let's go do this. And they're really down for it. So I'm excited.
I love that. I love that. I think that is just such a fantastic blessing. And it's also just motivation. For those of you who are watching, I want you to put down in the comments, like, what's your why? What are you doing it for? What do you need to be consistent? Like, why do you need to be consistent? Who are you doing? Look, what are you doing it for?
Mm-hmm.
Your end goal and your end vision, you guys, isn't, first of all, it's never an end because you just keep dreaming, you know.
Yeah.
But there has to be some ideal vision that you have that's going to push you to strengthen your discipline, that's going
Yeah.
to push you to be more consistent in order to make it to that vision. I have a very clear vision of how I want to bring children into this world. And so
Yeah.
when people say, hey, you're retiring, why are you retiring? Because I cannot see myself with a baby on my right hip and trying to do your makeup on my left hip. That's just not the vision
Yeah. Yeah.
that I have for myself.
Yeah.
I want to be able to have the freedom and the time, the flexibility. So right now, my vision is beyond what is actually here in the physical. I
Yeah.
know the things that my heart desires. And that's why I get up. That's why I keep asking God to give me creativity. That's why I keep surrendering to the process, even when I'm
Yeah.
blindfolded in the spirit and don't know exactly how this is going to go.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Having that clear vision, and the vision has to be strong enough that it's louder than the doubters and the naysayers, right?
Mm,
Especially the people closest to you. Like I said, my parents were the two people closest to me, but they were also probably my biggest doubters. And it's also important to understand that when your family doubts you, it doesn't mean that they're hating on you. It doesn't mean that they want to see you lose.
That's real,
Oftentimes
Maya.
they're doubting from a place of fear. Like for my parents to move to this country, make sure that we didn't grow up in a civil war, make sure we didn't grow up in a poor country. Their biggest fear is to come to this country and then their kids still not do well. And so back then I probably didn't really have the maturity and the understanding to know that, but it's like I still pressed through. Dropping out of college was one of the scariest decisions in my life because I knew I was going to disappoint the people that were closest to me, but I also knew that I had something bigger, that I had something more that I wanted to do. So when it comes to your purpose, when it comes to your vision, I think what's important to understand is that just because God gave you the vision doesn't mean that the journey is going to be easy.
Come on.
And that's where faith comes in. That is the whole purpose of faith. If it's easy, it's not going to require faith. And so this is when you have to say, listen, I got to listen to my intuition. I got to listen to the Holy Spirit. I got to listen to God, because there's a lot of people who don't see the vision that God has for me, that they're confused. They're like, why are you paying this money for a course? Why are you dropping out of college? Why are you leaving your 9 to 5? Why are you going to all of these conferences? They're going to look at you like you're crazy because you have crazy faith. So you need to make sure that your vision is louder than the naysayers.
Listen, Maya, I could just punch you right now because that was so good. Girl, that was so good. Let me tell you what I gathered from that, though. Something that you said, you kind of said it quickly, but you mentioned that your fear was fear of disappointing the people who were really rooting for you for a specific path. I think that it's so important to be self-aware, because there's a fear, but there's more power in knowing the roots of that fear. And that's something that I've always I even mentioned it in a video. You have a gift for finding the root of a thing that's limiting you from the big vision. And I think that when we think about fear, we also need to tack on, let me figure out what the root of this fear is. Because if I know the root, then I can address it and I can handle it, right? So you guys, when you come on, love Crystal. Crystal said guilt and shame. That's absolutely, definitely one of the side effects, or symptoms of fear. Thinking that feeling guilty that you're disappointing somebody, feeling guilty for even going after something that's for yourself. You guys, that is really powerful to know the root of your fear. That was. Yeah, we can log off. We ain't even done with the face, but we can log off.
Right. I'm like, we can keep this going. Yeah, because I'm sure we can definitely talk about fear all day. I mean, there's so much fear that goes into just living a life that you want to live. There's a lot of fear around that, especially when you don't see anybody else doing it and you're kind of, paving the way. You might be the first person in your family to make a lot of money, or to go to college, or to not go to college, or whatever it is. But what you said about knowing the root of your fear allows you to face it. And I recently just did a post where I'm like, if you're struggling with fear, one of the first questions you want to ask yourself is the story that fear is telling me true? Because fear is telling us a story. And sometimes if we believe that story, then we are then enslaved to our fear. So we have to ask ourselves, is this story true? Okay, if it's not true, then what is the truth? What am I truly afraid of? And the thing that you're afraid of, does it outweigh the best case scenario? If you overcome your fear, what's the best thing that could happen? If you stay stuck in your fear, what's the worst thing that could happen? Does the best case scenario outweigh the worst case scenario? 9 times out of 10, it does.
Come on. Y'all, if y'all don't drop some kind of fire emojis, put some fruit in the comment. I want to see some strawberries, some pine, y'all, because this is fruitful. This is really fruitful. Drop me some fruit in the comments. This is so okay. Listen, I have another question, but we're gonna go ahead and get back to this makeup. Okay. Did you bring like a darker powder for your contour, like what you contour with?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So we're gonna pull that out. And you guys, we are on now step number 4. So we're going to use brush F4, which is the contour and blush brush. Now, I like this brush because I use it for dual purpose, okay? The way that this brush is shaped, you can see that it is pressured here, which means that it can be a little bit flat, but it also comes to a tip. The tip is great to fit into the hollows of your cheek where you would normally contour. The flat side is going to be great for blush. Now, I know you gals out there, don't tussle with me about blush. Everybody don't like blush. I already know that. Don't fight me now. But we are going to do our contouring first, and then we'll use this for blush, okay? So I have my little Black Radiance powder that I use. It's about 2 shades darker. Perfect. Just use the darker shade.
Okay.
2 shades darker. And I like to make a girl please face. So I'm like, girl please. And when I say girl please, that little hollow right there, that's it right there. That's it.
Listen, I've been practicing.
That's it. And when I can see that, then I go from the kind of like from the top of my ear toward my mouth. Perfect. Toward my mouth. And I can just use a sweeping motion here. I like to contour there. And then I do little circles kind of around the perimeter of my forehead. And then you ain't got to worry about no extra, because you be working out like every day. So for my girls who ain't working out every day, who wishing they working out, then you can also contour the jawline as well underneath. But typically just the cheek and then around the perimeter of the forehead, okay? Now, as you can see, this side is more round now, and this side is a little bit more sculpted. And so when you contour, what you're doing is just making your face more sculpted. You're lifting the cheekbones, and anything that you feel is probably large, then you can kind of minimize it. So if you have a small forehead, you don't really have to, you know, contour as much. But me, I got a 5 head, so I need to, I need to bring it down a little bit, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and contour the other side.
Yeah, you can really see the difference.
Yes. Yes, you really can. That deeper shade is really good to create shadows. Contouring is just simply a technique that makes things look smaller. So we contour in the hollows of the cheek, going around the perimeter of the forehead. And we'll get to the nose in just a second when we get to that brush. But once we finish with contour, then we can use blush with this same brush. But instead of using the tip this time, Maya, we're going to use the side.
Gotcha. Yep.
So we're going to take the side and just sweep in your blush. I'm so glad you like blush, Maya. I didn't want to have to tussle with you.
I like blush. I think it kind of just like makes me look alive. Sometimes without blush, I'm like, my face don't have no saturation to it. Like, we got
exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I think. That's how I think. But, you know, I feel like some women have seen blush done wrong so many times that they're just really afraid of it. So,
yep.
You guys, this is the right way. So here's the contour. We're just going to go above the contour right there and just sweep some blush. Sweeping it back. And I'm going to go kind of like up into the hairline. So here's my contour and just right above it, going up into the hairline. I'm going to do the other side. It doesn't take much, y'all. Where are my ladies who don't like blush? Just put
let's fight.
It's a no for me, sis. Let me know in the comments. And for those who do like blush, y'all give me some red hearts, pink hearts, purple hearts. Let me know. Let us know.
I mean, the blush just does it for me.
It does it for me too. It just, you know, gives me a little, lets you know that the blood is running warm in my veins.
That part.
Okay?
That part.
All right. So I'm going to put this brush back. And next is F5. And with F5, this is my favorite brush out of the whole bunch. It is the nose and eye contour brush. And there's not one brush set that I've ever had that was specifically made for my nose or my eyes. I had to like figure it out. And that was so annoying because I really didn't have a brush to do that. I would have to kind of like squeeze this brush to make it fit. It was just too much. So I love this one. And what I'm going to do is take out the contour powder that you used. And I'm going to just lightly dab in there, but also wipe it off because I don't want to go too dark.
Right.
And I'm going to start at the tip of the nose first, going straight up and down like the number 1. And I'm going to swing that into the front of the brow. Thank y'all for the hearts, y'all. I'm going to swing that up into the brow. I'm going to do that on both sides.
Ooh, this is really good. The shape of it is just so perfect.
Maya, that's my favorite part.
Yeah,
It's
the
my
shape.
favorite part.
Yeah, because I feel you. I've had to use brushes in the past where I'm like squeezing it and hoping it's not getting all the way to my nose, and this brush that just gets it.
Now, this is actually my second favorite part. I don't know if it's my first favorite part or my second favorite part, but I take the same thing. Let's say I'm always in a rush when I'm doing my makeup. I don't know. I just nap too long, I think, and I don't get what I'm supposed to. So once I do that, while I'm contouring my nose, I also just swing it into the crease of my eyes. And this gives me more of an eyeshadow. I'm dipping a little bit more so I can get darker into the crease. But this gives my eyes the look as if I'm actually wearing eyeshadow. And if you look at this side of my face versus this side, baby, I'm done up.
It's giving
I'm done
glam.
up.
It's giving glam.
Okay. But this side, I'm a little flat over here because I don't have anything that's giving my eyes any definition. So I'm going to go ahead and even it up, and I'm going to swing this right into my eyes. So for you ladies who are always short on time, you don't have a lot of, experience with eyeshadow, this is the perfect way to just apply something on your eyes to give the illusion that your eyes are not flat and you can still look alive, okay? Okay. Now, after F5, as you guys can see, my contour on this side is a little heavier than this side. Now, the reason why I put F6 as the 6th brush is for especially those beginners who need some kind of assistance, so to speak. If you've done a little bit too much, kind of like how I've done, there's 2 ways that you can fix that. The first way is you can take your foundation brush and soften it, which I love to do. The second way is when you take your all over powder brush, you're going to put that into your face powder. So if you have any pressed powder, you're going to sweep it all over to blend everything in. Did you wipe your brows off?
I
thought you
did.
already,
And then
I thought you already had brows on.
I know I took them off, but I'm like, well, her brows look good. Let me add some brows. And this thing, it is so precise. I love it. I'm like, watch the teacher. Let me draw my eyebrows back on.
Okay. So you guys, F6 is for your all over face powder. This is what I use to sweep away any of the excess product. I use this to kind of make sure that my blush is not too strong to sweep over it, to make sure that everything is blended in. So I want you to think about if you were getting your nails done, right? When we get our nails done, we get our nails polished, we get our design, and at the end, to make sure everything looks all cohesive and pulled together, they put on the top coat. And that top coat, woo, just sets the nails off. So this is what I call the top coat. That's so dramatic.
Just so good.
I love it. So you can take your pressed powder, Maya, and just sweep it all over your face, everywhere. And what this does is also keeps you from looking like a ghost in your pictures, okay? We do not want to be related to the Jacksons on no hand. Not unless our bank account is tied, you know. We might not want that.
You are foolish.
So we're gonna sweep all over. And then you guys, finally, the last brush is cheek highlight. I don't know about y'all, but I love to glow, okay? Now, I take my little cheek shimmer. Let me see yours, Maya.
let's see. Did I bring mine? There's a little bit of a highlight in here, so I'm gonna use this
That'll
old
work.
one. Yeah.
That'll work. So I take just a little bit of this, and in the same spot I put my blush, I'm just sweeping this along my cheekbones. And I'm just adding a little bit of glow just to pull everything together. Now, the great thing, you guys, is Maya and I both already have on lashes, so we look way more done up, okay?
Mm-hmm.
We're already ready. The only thing left to do is like your brows. I typically do my brows last, and I try to teach my students how to be sufficient in their brows without doing the whole concealer here, concealer there, because that takes up a lot of time. But when you know how to do your brows and you're sure in your brows, that helps your basic beat to go a lot faster and a lot smoother. So my brows are already done. Then I would spray my face down, add me some mascara on. Do you wear bottom mascara?
Yes, I do. Yep.
Yeah, I love bottom mascara. I'll add some bottom mascara. And then lip. I love a nice lip gloss. Now, while I do love color, lip gloss just gets me through. It just really does. So I'm gonna top this off with some lip gloss. Come on, BU Nation. Shout out to all of my students who are inside of Beautiful Ocean University.
Hey, students.
Hey, y'all. And while Maya is doing her lips, you guys, for those who may be overwhelmed with buying products in the store, you get on a beauty aisle and you're just absolutely confused. You have no idea what to do, what you really, really want to learn. Check out Basic Beat Summer Camp, you guys. This is my 3-day live camp for makeup beginners who want to learn how to do their makeup like a pro in just 15 minutes. Not only that, but I'm also going to teach you 3 different looks and ship you the products you need, including your matte brushes. So visit basicbeatsummercamp.com to learn more. Enrollment is open. So check it out, basicbeatsummercamp.com to learn more. You guys, I want to just point out what Maya is doing here. So after you wipe with your, after you apply your all over powder, sometimes you can feel like, man, I wiped a little bit too much of my blush off, and you want to go back and add some more. This is just a system to guide you, right? It's okay to bounce back to a brush that you used previously to add more product and more depth to your look. So don't Maya look cute, y'all? Period.
It feels so good. You know, I don't know the last time I did my makeup with some clean brushes, so my skin is very happy.
Maya, that's terrible.
I know, it's very terrible, but I will be washing my brushes. I didn't know that it went all the way through until you showed us, so I didn't know that it did this. So now I'm gonna be washing my brushes now that I have a stand and they can actually sit and dry properly.
Yes, so yes. So once you put them through, that's absolutely right. You guys, once you put your brushes through, this double as your drying rack. So you always want 360 degrees of air to flow through so you won't harvest bacteria and that you can avoid mold and it can dry properly. So that's definitely what this brush holder is for. Now, I want to talk about one more thing. We're going to wrap it up. You mentioned doubt from others, right? You mentioned, you know, how your parents were kind of like on the fence about what you were doing. But what about doubt in yourself? Did you experience any doubt, even though you kept going, even though you pressed through? Did you experience any doubt, and what do you do about it?
Yeah, I have definitely experienced doubt before. And I think, you know, it's interesting. One of the things that I say is that I'm really fortunate for how early I started, because I started before Instagram was the thing. I started before even Twitter was really out. And so I think, like, I recognize with a lot of new entrepreneurs, there's a higher level of doubt and insecurity and imposter syndrome because there's so much noise, right? There's so much more comparison. So when I would have doubt before, a lot of the doubt was like, I guess just a smaller level of doubt of like, oh, what might my friends think, or what might my parents think? And now a lot of times our doubt comes from like, what is the entire world going to think? But now when I deal with doubt, and even in the past, I would lean on my community. Community
Mm.
is so, so, so important. When I was really battling with, trying to make the decision of dropping out of college, my ex at the time, his dad was a retired pastor. So I remember having a conversation with him and just getting some counsel from him. Having godly community is just a game changer. It truly is. So I think like the communities that I lean on would be like godly community, people that can pray for me, people that have a level of discernment that I trust, and having my entrepreneurial community, people who have been where I am, who made the moves that I have made, and just understand the pressures of entrepreneurship and being a CEO. So being able to have a community of people who understand, the doubt that you're facing, they won't judge you. It's a safe space. That has been a real game changer for me.
I totally 1000% agree. One question that I get so much is, how do I find these people? How do I find, somebody who understands, what I'm doing? Now, my answer is that you should be who you want to see. So if
Mm,
you want to see someone who's striving towards their goals, then you got to strive towards your goals. If
that's
you want
it.
to see somebody that has integrity, then you have to be someone with integrity. If you
Yeah.
want to see someone who's a learner, who you got to put yourself in an environment where you are learning so other people can see that you're learning.
Yep.
So I've always been able to find friends all over the world because I'm not afraid to, go to different conferences and go to, different events and just really, take a chance and have the courage to introduce myself. But it's because of what I put out, those things
Mm-hmm.
come back to me. And that's
Yeah.
kind of how I found my tribe. And it's not anything that I had to force, but it is definitely something that just innately happens. It's the law of attraction, right?
Yep.
And it's also biblical. Whatever seeds that you plant, you're gonna reap a harvest, good or bad, right?
Um, yep.
So whoever you are, that is a reflection, and whatever you reflect is gonna look right back at you.
Mm-hmm.
Do
Yeah.
you find do you find that finding your tribe was easy, or like how did that happen for you? How did you find your community?
Yeah, I would definitely say I found my community in the environments that I spent time. And so you all need to think about, where am I spending my time? And it's interesting because like I think some challenges for me in terms of having friendships and long-term relationships is that I dropped out of college and I haven't had a formal 9 to 5 or a corporate job, which is where a lot of people meet their closest friends, or a lot of people meet their spouses. And I'm like, well, dang, I dropped out of college and I didn't get a formal job. So where do I find these people? I met a lot of people through social media, through, online, connecting with people who were doing what I was doing. And one of the things that Z said is, people, you need to attract people based on what you're doing. And so when people see me in like masterminds and, my winning friends who are doing the big things, are like, oh, how do you cultivate those friendships? I'm like, these people found me winning. They found me working. Everybody wants to be friends with winners. So if you're
Period.
doing stuff that's like nobody is attracted to, if you're doing things where people are like, what is she doing? Why is she always gossiping? Why is she never working? Why is she always sleeping? Or why don't she ever work out? Why don't she ever do anything fruitful with her life? People are not going to be attracted to that. So I build relationships quite easily, I would say, is because one, people find me winning, and I'm always willing to add value and support people and see how I can show up for them. So with my entrepreneurial relationships, that's how I build those relationships, through online, meeting people that my existing friends already know, going to conferences, holding my own conferences. And then my two closest friends, which it's funny that they're not entrepreneurs. I have a lot of entrepreneurial friends. My two closest friends aren't entrepreneurs. I actually met them at church when I used to go to a young adults ministry. I joined the small group. They were in the small group. I ended up leading the small group, and we've been friends ever since. And that's what I was talking about in terms of having that godly community too. So meeting people at church, meeting people at work, meeting people at the gym, meeting people, you know, online, wherever it is that you spend your most time is where you're naturally going to start building your community.
I love that. I love that. I think that is so absolutely true. And that brings me to my vote of thanks and gratitude to you for just being an advocate for a community, and just showing me what it looks like to create a safe space. Even when I was inside of your program, it was a very, you know, safe space, transparent space. And I just wanted to make sure that the level of integrity that you exuded, that I also exuded that with my community as well. So thank you so much, girl.
Thank you, Z. I
This
appreciate that
was
so much.
really this was
This
extremely
was.
fun. I appreciate you. Tell everybody what you got going on, where they can follow you. Let them know.
Yes, so good to meet all of you who are in Z's community who haven't yet heard of me. You can follow me, of course, at Maya Elious. Listen, when you see me with the beat face, just know it was the matter brushes that did it. Okay, it was the matter brushes that did it. I'm really excited. I really haven't done my own makeup this well in a while, so I'm excited. But some things I have coming up. Just look out for any announcements of my live events. I'm always talking about messaging, building your online brand, being confident as a woman. So just enjoy the free content. If you see something you like in my stories, reply to it. Let's connect. I'm happy to chat with y'all.
Listen, I want y'all to go and like Maya's page up. Let her know where you found her. Let her know you enjoy her. Drop your aha moment in her comments. It don't matter what post it is. It might not even make sense. Just drop your aha moment in the comment
Yeah.
on the post to let her know that you were here. You guys, thank you so much for tuning in. If you would like to grab your set of Matter brushes, you guys, you can go to matterbrushes.com. Y'all, I still have about 50 free holders. Okay, so you can use the code VIP1111. Once you add both items to cart, use the code VIP1111 and you can get a free holder. Okay, so matterbrushes.com. You guys, I hope you enjoyed this. Maya, again, thank you. I appreciate you, girl, and I just wish you all the more continued success because it's coming.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, you know, because I am a branding queen, I'm like, we need to take like we need to hold it up and smile just so we have a good still. If you need to
I know
grab
that's right.
the photo for the for the cover photo. I love it. We look like some matter models. Okay, it's giving matter model.
Period. I love that. Well,
Awesome.
thank
You
Maya.
so much, Lee.
You guys have a fantastic night, and we'll talk to y'all soon. Good night.
Bye.